Hi everybody, this is Agnes from No Sediment, and today let's explore Beaujolais Nouveau. Every year on the third Thursday of November, we celebrate wine and the new vintage with Beaujolais Nouveau. It often arrives in colorful bottles stacked up in additional placements in retail stores. Best examples will be full of bright, expressive, plump red and blue fruits, while lesser ones will show notes of bubblegum and banana. These are very light red wines with silky, almost non-existent tannins, moderate alcohol level and soft acidity. But where does Beaujolais Nouveau come from and what it is made of? And more importantly, how is it made that it can appear in our favorite wine shops so quickly? Let's find out. The legend says that Beaujolais Nouveau was originally made as a fresh wine for vineyard workers to celebrate the end of the harvest season. In the middle of the 20th century, it became almost like a tradition to compete over who would deliver the first bottles of young Beaujolais wine to the big cities of France. And over the time, it became a worldwide celebration. Since 1985, Beaujolais Nouveau could only be sold starting from a third Thursday of November at midnight, and the rest is history. Beaujolais Nouveau is a red wine made from Gamay grape variety in Beaujolais region north of Lyon in France. Interestingly, all grapes for Beaujolais must be harvested by hands, and in fact it is essential for the production of this wine. Grapes must arrive at the winery in whole bunch and intact. It is because Beaujolais Nouveau is made a little bit differently than most of the traditional red wines. This method is called carbonic maceration, and for it is essential to have grapes not crushed but whole berries. These berries will go into large sealed vats capable of withstanding pressure. Carbon dioxide will be added afterwards. Grapes at the bottom of the tank, under all that weight of the berries, naturally will squeeze and break the skins, releasing juice, thus initiating regular fermentation and releasing extra carbon dioxide. However, grapes at the top are still intact, and because of the high pressure in the tank, they will also start to go through fermentation. But there is no yeast involved, and conversion of the sugars into alcohol happens in the grape itself. Carbonic maceration is sometimes also referred as the anaerobic fermentation, as there is no oxygen involved. After a while, grapes at the top also burst open, releasing juice and continuing fermentation as usual. With this technique, it takes less than 2 months from the harvest until the wine is bottled. Because of this technique, Beaujolais Nouveau wines tend to show quite unique aroma characteristics, such as bright plump strawberries, cherries, kirsch-like aromas, which are often accompanied by sweet spices and vanilla notes. These aromas are so expressive that they sometimes can overpower the characteristics of the grape, which is one of the reasons why some wine lovers criticize this technique. On the palate, these wines tend to show softer acidity and significantly lighter tannin structure than those wines that are made in a traditional maceration process. This is the reason why most wine professionals will advise you to drink these wines as young and fresh as possible and not to keep them for special occasions for opening later. Because Beaujolais is light, fruit-driven red wine with low levels of soft tannins, it can be served slightly chilled, and I most certainly would advise to do so. 1 glass of Beaujolais does not ask a lot for food, but if you feel like snacking, different cold cuts and hard cheeses would be great. I would also enjoy it with juicy slice of takeaway pizza. It's still a few days before the third Thursday of November, so I cannot open it yet. Meanwhile, you can check out what other wines go great with pizza.